They're part of the team. Part of the team, man. Gotta tell you, part of the team.
Welcome to Tampa Bay. We fuck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seize the day. The crew's ready, all hands on deck.
Looks Brady. Look at him.
Bucs Nation. Welcome to another edition of the Loose Cannons podcast. You guys know who I am. Hanging out with my boy Poppy Latte and the Barefoot Wonder Stank. And guys, tonight's a special night. We are joined by the man who gives Byron Leftwich the business every fucking week. He asks him all the tough questions. A man who could 1,000% get Rondé Barber in on his first shot, much like I would. And a man who has represented Bucs Nation and been our eyes and ears from a media perspective for over 100 years. The one, the only of Pewter Report and Pewter Report Podcast, Mr. Scott Reynolds. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Insert cheer.
No
Royalty
logic.
in the household. Royalty.
No logic.
In the household.
There we go. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. It's always fun to be on with you guys. I thoroughly enjoy the show. Love your interactions. It's great stuff.
Scott, you're the only Tampa media member who told us our show didn't suck. The only
It doesn't. It doesn't. No.
Fringe media. We're fringe media.
I mean, it stinks a little bit, but that's because you have stank. But it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
That's almost by design.
Yeah.
Scott, week 1, the Bucs went to Dallas.
Yep.
In my opinion, beat the shit out of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Now it's week 19, and the
Yeah.
Bucs face off against the Dallas Cowboys yet again. It's wild card Monday Night Football, huge matchup. Dak Prescott's thrown an interception in each of the last 7 games, going in against a secondary that's healthy and is, in my opinion, has playing well. They don't like to play on grass. Our guys love grass. We love grass. Scott, is this going to be the defense dominating again like they did in week 1? How important is the defense going to be this Monday in this wild card matchup?
It has to be. I mean, the defense has carried this team pretty much the whole year, and they're going to have to carry this team in the playoffs, right? You go back to that aberration, which was week 17 against the Panthers when they scored 30 points. And ironically, they've only scored 30 points twice this year, right? Now, the first one, they scored 31 points in a losing affair, 41-31 in week 4 against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the only time the Buccaneers, since Bruce Arians has been here, that I'd take that back. Since Tom Brady's been here, they've scored 30 points and lost. So usually that's been the magic number. It certainly was in 2020, right? They were average. They averaged 30 points a game last year too. That was the game Bruce Arians was supposed to go in the Ring of Honor. But because of the hurricane had displaced the team and all of that, they pushed it back to this. So it's a little bit of irony that the only 2 games they managed to score 30 points was the one that Bruce was supposed to be in the Ring of Honor and the one that he got in the Ring of Honor. So they scored 30 points against the Panthers. But if you look at that game, guys, you had a 63-yard touchdown pass to Mike Evans, a 57-yarder, and a 30-yarder. The difference in that game was the deep shots. Otherwise, everything about that game offensively was the exact same. 26% on third downs, awful. 1 of 3 in the red zone, awful. 1 of 2 in goal-to-go situations, awful. I think they ran for 67 yards in that game, awful. So, to me, nothing got fixed offensively, yet they scored 30 points. But the only reason why they did were those deep shots. And we've hardly seen those deep shots this year. Mike Evans coming into that game only had 3 touchdown passes, 2 of which were against Kansas City in that week 4 game. Hadn't scored a touchdown since then. So I'm a little concerned.
Dallas too.
What's that?
One against Dallas.
Yeah, a beautiful one against Dallas. So I'm a little concerned that the offense is just not going to live up to their expectations. Now, I like what they did against Atlanta in the first half. I'm not holding the second half against them. And some more irony.
Is that because you got to see Blaine?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, and if Blaine would have played the entire second half, they probably would have come back and won.
No doubt about
There's
it.
no doubt about
drop
it.
a 50 burger, Scott. It's
he might have. He was just getting warmed up, and they took the ball out of his hands.
He threw a pass so hard. He threw a pass so hard to Tompkins that it carried him like NFL blitz. Thank you, Populate, for that analogy. And it literally broke the man's back for like about 20, 30 minutes. And
broke Gage's back too, didn't he?
Gage. It was Gage. It was Gage.
It was Gage. What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Tompkins.
Just about broke Tompkins' hands. It was a heater. I mean, it was smoking. So if Blaine plays the whole game, there's no doubt they come back and win that game. But it wasn't meant to be. They wanted to get a look at Trask, which I understand. But now it's like we've seen enough of Trask.
Trask played amazing though. He played amazing.
Who did?
Trask. He looked incredible. He's that handoff.
What?
He's a Florida fan. He's a Florida fan.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Are you having flashbacks to like the SEC or something? I mean,
Scott, we have to give him credit though. He does hand the ball. He has one hell of a
It's a
handoff.
great job handing it off.
No fumbles
Very
by Trask. It was clean. You look at Brady; he had a fumble this year on a handoff.
He did.
So,
Trask, 0 fumbles.
There's that. But yeah, I just don't know. It's like, listen, I campaigned for the Buccaneers to do something radical, which was don't even play Tom Brady. In hindsight, I mean, there was a time when you're looking at Brandon Walton, John Molchen, Nick Leverett at center. You had Shaq Mason, and then you had Luke Gedeke at right tackle, blocking for Tom Brady. That was an accident waiting to happen. Thankfully, it didn't. But I was really actually a proponent of, use this game, go all in and say we're going to play young guys. We're going to give Trask the entire game. We're going to hey, you want to get Chris Godwin the 1,000 yards? We're going to see Trask throw to Chris Godwin for the first time, right? We're going to see him with better protection, what he can do. We know what he can do throwing to Devin Tompkins and Scotty Miller. We saw that in the preseason. But let's have him throw to Russell Gage. Let's have him throw to Chris Godwin and see what he can do. And they obviously didn't do that. In the end, it was a half-hearted, half-assed affair, and they won the first half. They lost the game. And I think it was a wasted opportunity because we still don't know, heading into year 3, what Kyle Trask can do, what he can be. And if you don't know by now, you're probably not going to know. Yeah. And so what I don't want to see this team do, and we'll talk about the playoffs in a second, but going forward, what I don't want to see this team do is natural elevation with Trask, which means you've got Tom Brady under contract. I think Brady comes back. We'll see if Blaine Gabbert comes back, right? But you can't sit there and say, well, we're not going to re-sign Blaine. We're not going to re-sign Griff. And we're going to have Kyle Trask. He's under contract. He'll be the number 2 next year. No, he hasn't earned it. You can't give him the number 2 job. He's got to earn it.
Well, in his defense, how do you earn it when you get no play time?
Well, I mean, listen, he did not have a good training camp. He did not have a good preseason. And he did not beat out Blaine Gabbert for the backup job. And I think,
but were they ever going to give Trask the nod over a vet who had? I'm asking a question. This guy's a professional.
Training camp.
He had enough opportunities in camp and in the preseason to make plays, and he didn't. And
he didn't shit the bed in the preseason though. He didn't look terrible, and he's playing with also.
That Tennessee game was not good. That Tennessee game was not good.
These guys are pros, man. The coaching staff, like these guys are in the professional league, right?
Yeah.
If they don't know, that tells you that he's not. That they know. They do know. If they don't know, they know. They know. They know.
Right. They know.
Like,
maybe they know.
By the way, I totally misread you, Scott, because I was about to start running around this room when you said you've been leading the campaign to start Blaine. So have we, but the whole season.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Listen,
I want to see under thighs because you know what, Scott?
Yeah.
Looks like 12's been a little scared to hold on to the ball, stay in the pocket, deliver the ball downfield.
He's got Blaine breathing down his neck. That's why.
Yeah.
I would love to come on and say Blaine's going to be back next year, or if Brady moves on, Blaine will have a chance. I don't think he's the Todd Bowles guy. Remains to be seen, but I'm a little crestfallen over it myself. I would love to see what Blaine Gabbert 2.0 looks like, but I don't think it's meant to be in Tampa.
Scott, is it a coincidence that Blaine Gabbert got all the headlines and then Tom Brady comes out and plays his best game of the season?
No.
Was he jealous?
He's saying
I think a little bit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you sit there and what are words that you would use to describe Tom Brady, right? GOAT.
Yeah.
If you want to extend it a lot, greatest of all time,
But not hero though.
not
but
hero.
not hero, right?
Never.
You could say icon, celebrity, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl MVP, but you can't use the word hero, but you can with Blaine, right?
You sure can.
Yeah.
So do you think, Scott, in your professional opinion, in the offseason at some point, Tom Brady will set up a hero scenario where someone pushes a child into a pool or in front of a bus to where Tom can kind of slide in and save the day, and then he can be pronounced because he did not enjoy the fact that Blaine was painted as hero.
I would say yes, but only under these circumstances, right? I mean, he would have to be wearing like Brady gear, right? With the new Brady like active men's pant and
Brady brand scuba suit.
Yeah, well, no, I'm keeping it like I'm keeping it landside.
Okay.
I'm just saying like maybe he goes and grabs a kid who's playing out in the street before a car comes, right? But only if his social media team is there, right?
Yeah.
And only if the kid looks at him and goes, "Wow, you saved me, Tom Brady. Where did you get that shirt?" "Oh, well, you can get the shirt at Dillard's." Whatever.
The car that almost hits him has a Brady bumper sticker, and then
Exactly. Yes.
Blurred off in the background is a bus with a big Brady ad on it, and then a then a bus, one of those seats, the benches has a Brady advertisement on it, and then
or maybe the car comes to a screeching halt and the guy gets out, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't see the kid in the street," and he's wearing a Brady gear shirt as well, and then Tom's like, "Hey, nice shirt," something like that.
Yeah, listen, Pat fan in the chat says Tom hates his backups. That could be, he could be sabotaging Trask. He could be Trask, you do it this way, and because he doesn't want the competition. He knows that young buck.
Bro. Let it go.
I'm just saying.
I'll say I don't know what he feels how he feels about Kyle Trask, but I do know Tom Brady loves Blaine Gabbert, loves the guy, and why wouldn't you? I mean, Blaine is just lovable to begin with.
Listen, we're actually excited.
He loves Griff too. So
we're excited for him not to come back because Blaine is actually the official fourth member of the podcast. So he would immediately slide right in, the box you're in right now, Scott, until you decide to, leave Pewter Report in the dust. Which
watch Daddy spin this shit.
Yeah,
watch
exactly.
Daddy spin this shit.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a quick Blaine Gabbert story, right? So he went to Missouri. Obviously, I'm a K-Stater, and we played each other this year in football, and we put a bet on the game. And Blaine's a Midwest guy coming from the state of Missouri. I'm a Kansas guy, and so we bet on barbecue, and he just had a little newborn, right during training camp. And so this is back in September. So Kansas State beats Missouri, and I go to play in my barbecue, and I'm texting Blaine. I said, "Hey," K-State wins, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I think he mentioned Kojak's, right? And I said, let's go to Kojak's maybe Monday night or Tuesday, whatever. And actually they're closed Monday. So I said Tuesday night. The problem is Tuesday is the day where the quarterbacks are actually in one Buck place doing all the game planning. And then I mentioned Friday. And he's like, "Man, I just got this newborn and I got to spend, time with the wife and my child." So he's like, "Let's do it in the off season. But in the meantime, give me your address and I'm going to ship some barbecue to you." And there's a website called goldbelly.com where you can ship barbecue from around the country, wherever. And there's a place that he had called Pappy's. His favorite barbecue spot in America is Pappy's in St. Louis. And he sent me like a feast. It was like 2 massive slabs of ribs, pulled pork, barbecue sauce, the whole works. They just shipped it right to my house. We ate on it for like 3 nights. It was fantastic. And so Blaine Gabbert, man of his word, it was fantastic. Ironically, Ryan Griffin comes up to me like a week later after his Tulane Green Wave beat my Kansas State Wildcats. And he's like, "Hey, I noticed you didn't bet me." And I said, "No, I didn't, dude, because I actually bet on Tulane in the game, and I showed him my bookie winnings. I just had a feeling the Green Wave was going to have a good year. I knew it. I actually bet on the Green Wave because they were underdogs, and I said I made money on your Green Wave, and congrats, Ryan."
Usually when we talk about Blaine, I get hungry. Now I'm fucking starving, bro. I need a slab of ribs. I need meat.
Happy's is where it's at.
It's no surprise that a man with that physique and thighs that meaty
Yeah.
is obviously a meat guy. I mean,
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah.
Him and Camarda are close, right, Scott? Him and Camarda are close. They're buddies, right?
Camarda? I don't know.
Camarda,
I don't know.
Camarda's got some meat.
got a lot in common.
Next time you walk in through that locker room, snap a couple photos for us.
Of their thighs? Is that what you want me?
Whatever you can get.
Whatever.
You could call it a thigh. You could call it a thigh.
It's another leg.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You could,
Blaine doesn't skip leg day, and there's no vegetables detected with Blaine. I think it's all meat. I think.
Amazing.
He's the
anti-Brady. It's barbecue, pork, steak. I think he's a full-on carnivore.
He's the anti-Brady. That's why Tom and he have such. That all makes sense now. Tom's like, this motherfucking carnivore, getting all the fucking headlines. Fuck it, I'm throwing the ball down the field. Fuck it.
This is what people tune in the show to hear, bro.
Tom probably brings an avocado in, and Blaine looks at that and says, "Yeah, I'll feed this to my cow in the backyard."
What the fuck is this? An apple? Is this a rotten pear? What am I looking at here?
Listen, the camera's supposed to add weight. Tom looks hungry all the time. You see him in person every day, bro.
He's skinny.
Looks emaciated. He's starving. That man is starving.
Yeah, he could mix in like some desserts, I think, for sure. I mean, he went through a lot this year, and I think that took a toll on him for sure. I mean, Tom Brady, and I'll just kind of segue into this because you're probably going to ask about it. I think Tom Brady does return to the Buccaneers next year for a couple reasons. I think the first one is there's no Giselle to answer to now. And if we're being clear, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful of marriage or whatever, I'm happily married, but Brady is married to football, and Giselle was the mistress. And I'm not saying that in any derogatory way, but that drives home the point of how long and how deep of an affection Tom Brady has for the game of football. He can't quit it. And he's playing until he's 45. He'll be 46 next year. He can't quit. He loves it. But the thing is what drives him, right? It's not just the competition. I mean, Tom is an ultimate competitor and all of that. That drives him. But I think at this stage of the game, and I asked him a question probably about a month ago to kind of dig deeper into this. And I've kind of learned how to read Tom a little bit between the lines. I don't have any relationship with him outside of the press conferences, but I'm really good at reading people. And I feel like what Tom is he's not a celebrity. He is an icon. And there's a difference. A celebrity can go out to Outback Steakhouse, right? And sit down and somebody will say, oh, there's so-and-so. And maybe after dinner, they come get an autograph or snap a selfie. Tom can't eat at Outback because it goes viral. Outback is flooded. Everybody in Outback is at his table. He can't do that, right? Scott, when you're an icon, you can't go out in public.
Nope. Sammer knows what that feeling is like.
Yeah.
Scott. I mean, you were there with us. You were there with us, and God rest his soul. Cookie was as well.
Yeah.
The first year of the gala, you remember Tom showed up.
Yes.
These are the who's who of Tampa. Like insane.
Yeah. Swarmed him. Yeah.
It swarmed them. I couldn't get within 5 feet of him. I was like,
right.
We just looked at each other. I was like, dude, never mind, bro.
Dude, I felt bad.
He was not enjoying
and he was the last one there and the first one out because that's just how he has to be.
Security is insane.
But you could tell he's actually not comfortable with it. Like he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
You are exactly right, Sammer, and that's my point.
Right.
There's only two places where Tom feels normal. And honestly, in Tom's core, if you look at him, he's a normal dude. He's normal. He doesn't act holier than thou, better than thou. He doesn't have the celebrity snob. There's none of that, right? He's normal. The only two places he can feel normal are with his inner circle, which are his immediate family and immediate friends, his trainer, all that stuff, right? Business associates. And that's what, 2, 3, 4 dozen people tops. And then the 53 guys in that locker room and in the coaching staff. He's normal. He's one of the guys. And Tom relishes that. He loves to be one of the guys. When he first got to Tampa, treat me like you would treat anybody. Play practical jokes on me, prank with me, joke with me, make fun of me. I don't care. He wants that.
Because you're saying he's like the anti-Russell Wilson.
No doubt. He is the anti-Russell Wilson.
He doesn't have his own office within the facility and eat in separate rooms.
And he throws more touchdowns too. So
one could say he's the second best at being humble.
So Sammer's the first.
Yeah, Sammer's the first.
Obviously, on the
of course, yes. But I think that is so important to him because it's not about the competition anymore. It's not about the wins. It's not about the Super Bowls. He's done all that. That's the level of expectation. I think he's playing a mind game with himself. Like, I'm waiting to fall off. I'm waiting for me to suck, but it hadn't happened yet. So I still got to keep playing, right? But I really believe that because he's so close to the end, I think that's what he misses, because there's only 17 games, right? And you make the playoffs, there's 18, and then whatever happens after that, that's it. There's only 18 days out of the year where you're the man in the arena, okay? But for Tom, it's the coming in Monday, right, with the team meeting, with the guys, lifting, right? It's Tuesday, it's going in there with the coaches, it's nailing down the game plan, right? It's Wednesday, it's practice, it's install. It's Thursday, it's another practice. I get the day off because I'm old man Tom. But Friday, I'm back at it. There's the walkthrough on Saturday, traveling with my guys to the game. That's what he misses. Not the 17 days. It's the other 6 days of the week that he's going to miss. And I think he wants to hang on to that, because by hanging on to that, he hangs on to normal. He hangs on to regular. He hangs on to the camaraderie, the teamwork, the fellas. And I think that at this stage is more important. Yeah, he gets to be comfortable. Exactly.
And then after football, he's going to have to deal with being uncomfortable and then making that be comfortable.
An awful lot, yes.
Can you see? I don't see him happy in a suit in front of a camera with some fucking makeup on. It's going to be a weird transition.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
But a lot of those former athletes, Stank, will say that they go that route because they can now create camaraderie with that form of a team, and then they can also stay in touch with their, like when you watch the guys on TNT, there's a clear camaraderie. It's very locker room like the way they got. So you eventually hope you could develop that chemistry. But I agree. I don't think he's initially going to be very comfortable standing in front of that or sitting on that desk, talking about football.
On top of that, his ego, which every great player, and he's a fucking animal, right? Yeah. He sees the quarterback play around the league, and it's abysmal. Right. Outside of a handful of fucking guys, you can see him being like, I can do that. Look at these fucking kids out here. They suck.
Yeah.
Orlovsky says that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think that's a fear of Tom's too, is I think Tom wants to go out on a bad season. I really do. I think people say he wants to go out on top. And you know what? If they somehow win the Super Bowl this year, God, he might have some second thoughts about it and say, okay, it worked for Peyton, and I'll go out this way. It worked for Elway. But there's part of me that I think Tom wants to suck, and whenever that is, next year, 2 years, whatever, I think he wants the game to tell him that it's time to go. Because
I think you're right, Scott.
You know what I mean?
I said it. I talked with a lot of people about this, specifically about the Giselle thing when he was going through all that, where it's like somebody like him, it would fucking haunt him to walk away, thinking I still have something left. He would not. He'd be restless. He would not. Right. He would not just live out life in peace and happy.
He's admitted though. He's admitted publicly that he doesn't think he can deal with it. He said as much.
He said it about his kids. He's like, I don't wish this obsession on my kids. Like, I am upset. I have a
it reminds me a lot of, obviously on a much different level in terms of skill set, but it reminds me of Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman refused to go until he had had his ass kicked repeatedly by the game, and then even after that, he had some demons. He ended up going down certain rabbit holes because he couldn't deal with what happens after not being the guy, not being the dude surrounded with all that stuff. So imagine Tom Brady's level, which is even multiplied by 10.
Yeah, and I mean, he's going to be sitting at home looking at that bottle of avocado tequila, going, you're my friend now. I mean,
that's the
going to be a lonely life.
Yeah. But you're right. It's the one place he feels. It's the one place he feels normal. I always find it funny when we've had players on, and it's like, hey, so the first year that we had here, and it's like, so what was it like meeting Tom? And it's like, it's really strange. He just walked up to me and said, "Hey, I'm Tom Brady," and it's like, I know who you are, bro. Like, what the fuck? You're Tom fucking Brady, but he wants to be normal.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've done this for a long time, and I've met Hall of Famers and the Buccaneers and other teams as well, and press conferences and one-on-one interviews and all that stuff. So I mean, at this point in time, I'm not really that shell shocked or gun shy or whatever. But I do remember one of the first times I asked Tom Brady a question at a press conference, and the thing with Tom is like usually like you'll see me ask Byron or Todd Bowles a question, and they'll look at you, right? Like I'm not like I'm Todd Bowles now. It's like, well, you want to play better, and then I'm gonna look over here a little bit, and I look back at you, and then look over here, It kind of like scan the room a little bit when you talk. Byron does that too, right? Especially when he gets a question from me, then he'll
JC.
Yeah, then he'll look off at Rick Stroud and go, and then like he'll look back or whatever, and that's somewhat normal to kind of be the professor at the lectern and like kind of address the whole class, etc.
Tom beams right through you.
Brady doesn't do that. Brady is like locked into you, like it's just you and I, Scott, and I'm gonna answer your question, and it's like Medusa, man. It's like you can't help but look, and you just turn to stone, and you're like, it's different.
Hey, what's it like in there, Scott? What's it like in there, Scott, when somebody asks him a stupid question? You can tell the ones where he's like walked off the podium when he's been pissed. Like, after game, like he's pissed.
Yeah.
And when he's looking at you like that, what's that? Because it's got to be like, oh fuck.
Well, the funny thing is like it's almost like for a split second, the media room like morphs into like an elementary school classroom, and it's like we're all kids like staring at the weird kid who's like, what? Like, did you just pee your pants like in class? Really? Like we'll look at the media member like, did you really just ask Tom?
You asked that?
Shit, like what are you thinking? Like you're stupid. You're really dumb. Like that's just how it is. It's funny. It's a weird dynamic.
All right.
Oh, man.
So we have a football game to talk
on the
about
game
now, Scott.
On the game.
All right. I don't know why the fuck you just hijacked our show to talk about some quarterback that's over the hill. All right. God. Let's talk about the Bucs, the defense.
Okay. I love talking defense.
Bucs got to get their hands on some balls, don't you think?
They do. You mentioned a very accurate statistic. I'll even maybe embellish that statistic a little bit. Out of those 7 games in a row where Dak Prescott has thrown a pick, 4 of them he's thrown 2 interceptions. So I dare say not just get your hands on a ball, but balls.
Score.
And yeah, that would be nice, a pick 6. Here's the real conundrum as I see it. This is going to be kind of the real interesting thing because Carlton Davis is supposedly going to come back from the shoulder injury and play and start. And that can be a very good thing if we see the CD3 that chased Jamar Chase all over the field, right? That was his best game I've seen him play in a long time. Got an interception off of a tip because he can't catch it when it's thrown to him. He's got to be off a tip or something, right? So, but he got the pick, 4 pass breakups. What did Chase have? 3 catches, 32 yards against Davis, right? Just blanketed him. Like if that's the Carlton Davis that we see on Monday night, like that's what they need, really. Now, Jamel Dean coming back. If Jamel Dean can play on the toe and play very good, I'm not going to say good. He's got to play very good or great. The problem is the last time I saw Jamel Dean, which was after the Panthers game, he was limping bad on that toe, and he played pretty much the whole game on that bad toe. The cornerback who's playing the best right now, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but it's true, is Sean Murphy-Bunting. Mm-hmm. Sean Murphy-Bunting is playing the best. Now, the thing is you say, okay, we'll put all 3 on the field at the same time. Well, Antoine Winfield Jr. is the nickel corner. He plays the slot. He's played very well outside of the game against DJ Moore. He's played exceptionally well. And I'm going to give Winfield a little bit of slack there because he was playing on a bum ankle. So I'm a little concerned they play Davis and Dean, and their best cornerback, at least their hottest right now, Sean Murphy-Bunting, he's on the bench. And the thing with Sean Murphy-Bunting is everything has to be right for Sean Murphy-Bunting to play really, really well. But when he's healthy and confident, you get the Sean Murphy-Bunting in the 2020 postseason because he was healthy and confident in that stretch. He's healthy and confident right now. And he's either usually not healthy or he's healthy, but he's not confident, right? It's one or the other. But right now, he's both. He's healthy and confident. And so I almost think Todd Bowles has got to work a 3-man rotation there at cornerback and maybe rest Davis for a series and have SMB in, right? And then have Davis come back in and then rest Dean for a series and have SMB in.
Kind of like a running back rotation, rather.
A little bit. Because Sean Murphy-Bunting can play both sides. And if he goes with Dean and Davis and the Cowboys win and SMB is on the sidelines, That's going to be a question to which we'll never know the answer. But what would have happened if Sean Murphy-Bunting would have played or played more? So I think that's a real interesting area that I have to see from a defensive perspective is how much he's going to actually play.
But do you think that having Dean kind of maybe not 100% will lean them towards maybe having him and SMB kind of swap in and out? Also keeps whoever they're facing kind of off kilter.
Yeah.
Because now you're facing two different styles, two different kinds of guys.
Totally agree. I hope that happens.
And we said on the show multiple times, when you can get SMB confident, he's a totally different player. And it's almost like he needs his own personal sports psychiatrist all season long just to keep him going. Because when he's confident and feeling it and he's hot, it's like, damn,
Put that person on the bench.
How do you,
he's off the field, like
get
a session in, right there on the bench.
This is also the first game where our entire secondary is healthy. All the guys and the extra guys. And now Todd can kind of have a little bit of fun. Sorry, Latte.
Yeah.
No, you're good. And I think Stang was going to jump in there. Sorry, I'll get this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have the flexibility with Winfield to put him back at safety again and play him in Logan Ryan or bring in Edwards, or you could put SMB back in the slot, which isn't really necessarily his best position. But we all know after he gets that Halloween candy in him, he's a different player. This is his SMB.
This is SMB season. Yeah, exactly.
It is.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So this is a healthy Buccaneer team. Tom said it on his podcast on Monday night, and it's going to be interesting to see because you go back and look, the two Buccaneer Super Bowl teams, the one thread they had in common, that Buccaneer team in 2002 was Monty Kiffin's team, right? John and the offense did their thing late, but that was a defensive-driven team, right? 9 defensive touchdowns that year with Brooks, Sapp, Barber, Lynch, Simeon. That was a special bunch.
Legendary.
And then you've got the offensive Buccaneers, right, in 2020. And the Todd's defense showed up that day big time, right, and shutting down Patrick Mahomes. But they still put, 31 on the board on the offensive side. So you have these two teams, one that's offensive heavy, one defensive heavy, but the common thread between both of those, aside from the numbers 2 and 0, were the fact that both of those teams were extremely healthy, like really healthy. You have one starter on the 2002 team that was an injured reserve as Booger McFarland. It was a throwaway position as a nose tackle. Buck Gurley and Chartrick Darby filled in there, and the Bucs defense didn't miss a beat.
Not about Buck Gurley.
Yeah, then you've got Alex Kappa, your right guard, right? If you would throw away one position, throw away one of the guards, right? And you have Aaron Stinney step in there and get the job done. But that's an amazing statistic. The only 2 Super Bowl teams that Tampa Bay's ever had, out of the starting 22, each team only had 1 starter on your reserve. So you got to be healthy, and you got to have momentum to win the Super Bowl. You just do. And those were 2 incredibly healthy Buccaneer teams last year. And you could almost kind of see why the Buccaneers weren't going to win it last year, right? They had the slew of injuries, right? Josh Wells playing on a bad wheel. Wirfs was out. It just a lot of cornerback disarray with all the injuries.
A whole AB fiasco.
Scott, if they're healthy, they win the fucking Super Bowl.
They do. There's no doubt. Yeah. If they get by the Rams, they beat the 49ers at home, and then they beat the Bengals. Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Scott,
we could talk.
Same secondary.
I'm sorry.
This same secondary, week 1, shut down. Cardinals shut down CeeDee Lamb. Like
they did.
I don't know what the stat was, but I mean, it was under 50 yards. It was bad.
Yeah.
We shut them down. I think they had under 50 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
Like defense was on fire.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they can replicate that. But you're talking about health. What have you heard, Scott? Scott, you are.
It's just us talking right now.
It's just us. There's nobody. 130 people.
Right.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Bots. Those are bots.
Is Tom Brady's boost of energy and confidence, and he's gonna stand in there? Is Red gonna fucking play, Scott?
Yeah.
Is Jensen gonna play, Scott?
Get real close to the mic. Give us an NPR.
Real close. Get real intimate.
Yeah.
Listen. This is Scott's opinion.
Yeah.
Sources. Just what do you think? As Scott Reynolds, that's just human being.
I don't think so.
Just
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, I don't. No, I think Robert Hainsey is going to be able to go, which is good.
That was anticlimactic.
Yeah. I have not heard enough positive things. Now, the way I read the tea leaves with some of my sources is sometimes nothing means something, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes crickets means something. There are other times, though, where crickets means nothing. And I've gotten crickets about Jensen probing multiple people. And that tells me, because if Jensen were to come back, that would be a positive, right? And the Bucs organization as a whole, whether it be a coach or whether it be a front office person or a scout or whoever, or an owner, they would want the positive stuff out there, right? Because positive is good. So the fact that this would be a good thing if Ryan Jensen played, and I'm getting crickets on that, tells me probably not going to play. Now, the thing is, they've got a 21-day activation window. Now, is he 2 weeks away from play, right? Because they're like in the final couple of days here of that 21-day activation. They've got to make a decision, I believe, by after this weekend. So they got to make a decision soon. And either he is going to be placed on the active roster, which means you got to cut somebody and put him on there as one of the 53, or he has to go back on injured reserve for the rest of the postseason. He has no chance of returning. So, having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if they sign him to the active roster and make him either inactive for this week, or maybe with the Hainsey injury, right? Because now you're down to Leverett as your backup center. Maybe dress him as that emergency center, where if he has to go in for a quarter, you cross your fingers and say, let's try it. But no, I don't think he's ready to start and play. And that's the difference between Vita Vea coming back in 2020 and Ryan Jensen, because you can't platoon offensive linemen. It doesn't work really well. You got to, especially the center position, like you got to go with your guy. And Jensen would have to be physically fit enough and physically okay enough to go 65, 70 snaps if necessary. With Vea coming back in 2020 on just pass rushing downs, I think he played like 20 plays in Green Bay. Made an impact, but 20 plays versus 70, that's two different stories.
But Scott, if he's say 2 weeks away and we win these next two games and you're rolling, what's the benefit of then taking out the starter who's rolling and plugging in some other guy? At that point, he's just not going to see the field, in my opinion. Like he's
correct. Yes, it would have to be due to an injury, in my opinion. Yeah, because I think at some point maybe you dress Ryan Jensen as that emergency guy or whatever. Yeah, and here's, if I were the Buccaneers and Jensen was close, right, and I'm going to go ahead and put him on the active roster again, hoping, okay, you beat the Cowboys, maybe you upset the Eagles, now you're in the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl. You're only 2 games away from winning the whole thing. And he's a great emergency backup if Robert Hainsey can't go. What I'm doing is I'm dressing him on Sunday, and I'm using him as that extra tackle in the jumbo. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm using him rather than
Ryan Jensen out of the backfield touchdown reception. Is that what you're saying right now, Scott Reynolds? Am I hearing you correctly?
That's what I heard.
I would not pass it. I would not pass up Dirty Red wide open in the end zone.
I guarantee you,
I would think he would catch it.
He won't let it get broken up like homeboy in the Super Bowl. I guarantee he'll come
Joe
down
Haig. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the thing too is what you do is you call the play brisket, right? Brisket on 3, ready, break. And then you get Ryan Jensen drooling a little bit, right? He lines up as the tight end, and Brady does the play action, and then it's like Jensen takes a couple steps, like shimmies a linebacker, and then like cuts to the pylon, right? And he's thinking brisket, and then Tom Brady throws it, and all of a sudden that pigskin turns into like brisket, and he catches it. What you're
saying is Tom Brady's going to deliver that meat.
Tom Brady would deliver the meat, and Ryan Jensen. Ryan Jensen would throw that on the grill.
Yeah, he's not going to let meat fall on the ground. Absolutely not. Dog going up there catching that bitch with both mitts. He's probably going to eat the fucking pigskin in the end zone. Not realize what's going on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're like, get off this. Right. Get off the field. We got to kick the extra point. Get off the field.
Right. And then he's not going to spike it. He's not going to spike it. He's going to gently place it on the ground like he's putting it on the grill.
Yes.
I'm not worried about center. I'm not worried about right tackle. I'm worried about left tackle, and I'm worried about 11.
Yeah.
And are we going to get playoff Donnie? Because Michael Parsons is a game changer.
If we don't see playoff Donnie, we better see protection Lenny. We better see protection Otten. We better see protection. Rashad. Byron Leftwich cannot hang Donnie out to dry, and he's done that a couple times.
Yeah.
So to me, if Donnie's not having a day, then get him some help. And honestly, as much as I put on Byron Leftwich, and I've called for him to be fired since the Carolina game, and I still stand by that, and I think pretty sure he will be
unfairly.
But the thing is Brady's a little culpable in this too, right?
Thank you.
Scott. He is.
Finally.
He is.
Scott, hold on, Scott. I'm going to go full screen. I want you to say that one more time.
Hold on.
You're going to go full screen, but Scott.
Okay.
Before you go with your points, because I was going to literally bring this up, and then you can do your thing.
Okay.
You listen to Brady's podcast, right?
Yes.
So, and you watch us, you see our tweets, and sometimes, we joke and shit, but sometimes it's a legitimacy. So, he said on his podcast, if these are the last 70 plays of the year, why not go out with our best 70?
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And listen, no sources here. This is just three fucking fans with our own conspiracies, right?
Yeah.
It just looked different, right? And everyone blames Leftwich, and we understand why.
Yeah.
But dude, Tom Brady, Scott, Tom fucking Brady is not going to go out there every week and be like, "Oh, all right, Byron. Whatever you say, Byron. That's what we're going to do because I'm a good soldier."
Yeah.
Now do your thing, Scott. Yes, that's what
Brady's culpable in some of this. He really is. And I'll tell you why. Because he is not Peyton Manning. And as it's been explained to me, and again, I don't have a relationship with Tom, so I have to have the pieces of the puzzle filled in by others who do know him and have a relationship. And as it's been explained to me by multiple people, so I know this is pretty certain, Tom does not want to call the plays. Tom is an execution guy. And I know that sounds like lip service, got to execute. Tony Dungy was saying that it drives people crazy. It's like, no shit, you got to execute. You missed the block, he got sack, fumble, scoop and score. Yeah, no shit, you have to execute. But the thing is Brady is not like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning liked, Omaha. He liked calling that offense and being in control. The only time Tom is in control is in the 2 minutes. And you've seen him on TV, right? You've seen him when they go no huddle, they do the close up, and he's getting the play call, right? Because he's literally looking up. They show him on the screen. He's flipping up his quarterback play armband, and he's looking at it, and then he'll do this, like he'll wave it off and he'll call something else, right? We've seen that. That's visual evidence of that happening. So Tom will take over in the last couple of minutes because he gets into rhythm. It's 2 minute and all of that, and I know for a fact that that's when he feels comfortable doing it. Otherwise, Tom is a good soldier. He wants to execute the plays that are called. Where Tom feels he is best is, I have this play. How can I help this play work the best, right? Tom is the best, and this is why I've said Byron Leftwich is a fraud, because when you have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown on the field at the same time, I don't care if you're a nickel, dime, whatever, right? Tom Brady knows where he's going, pre-snap read. He can read the coverage and find the matchup he wants. He knows where he's going with the ball. And that's why the Buccaneers were always clicking, because you don't have enough A-list cover guys to cover all four, right? And it was either going to be Gronk's game down the seam, AB's game out wide, Mike's game out wide, or Godwin's game down the seam. Pick your poison. You can take two away. The other two is going to be open, and you're going to tell me, defense, if it's going to be AB's day or Mike's day or Godwin's day or Gronk's day. You're going to tell me, because I got four guys to throw. I don't care who I throw to. I'm going to find the matchup pre-snap. I'm going to know where I'm going to go with the football, what coverage I'm seeing, and it's all going to be predetermined. Now you have Evans and Godwin. There's no Gronk. There's no AB. The protection has Tom a little skittish, so it's been harder to defend this offense. As a result, you've needed to see more creativity, and we haven't seen that, right? There has to be a plan B. When plan A isn't working, what's plan B? I was like, I don't know. Because plan B before was you didn't need plan B. Plan A was always going to work. Because you could call the play, and Tom could say, okay, out of this play, this is the primary. But damn, look at that matchup right there, right? And so Tom had options, and that's why you had the downfield stuff and AB wide open and Gronk down the seam and Godwin was killing people, because you had four options on every play, and almost every play worked. Now that's not the case.
But is that really on Byron though? Because he's just working with what he has. Not to mention, what about the other 6 days of the week? You can't tell me that Tom is in that room with Tom Moore and Leftwich, and he's not signing off on the game plan.
He is. These are the plays Tom wants to run.
Right.
Now, the problem is, and this is where Tom gives up authority, is the sequencing. It's the play calling. He might like this play, right? But he didn't necessarily want it on first down. Okay. But that's what's called. And so Tom doesn't want to have to think about what play am I going to call here. You only have 25 seconds, right? To call something. And when you're going no huddle, right? And you have a certain personnel grouping on the field, like it all shrinks down. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to hurry up. You're in hurry up. You have one timeout. You have 45 seconds left. You don't have time to do substitutions, right? So Tom knows who he has in the field, and if you're 4 wide at that point in time, the playbook is this. It's not that, and so that's so much easier to pick a play from here. And plus, too, the Cowboys are in, they're in nickel, right? And they're not going to make a substitution. So all of a sudden, they're not in base, they're not in dime, they're in nickel. So I'm this versus this. Now Tom can quickly process those and make those calls. Tom is much better pre-snap rather than doing the play call. So he defers to Byron. And where Byron has screwed things up is the lack of creativity, of bringing new ideas to the table, and the play sequencing. It's the predictability of running on first down, right? Or here's the wide receiver screen that everybody knows that's coming because Chris Godwin's stacked over here, and you got 49er defensive back almost jumping in for a pick six, right? It's time to move on from that play. We've seen it. We've been there and done that, right? So,
Scott, it's interesting, Scott. Real quick, just to add on top of what he said. Sorry, Latte. What's interesting is they asked on the Pat McAfee show, they asked AQ Shipley a question about why don't teams go hurry up all game long or more throughout a game and let the quarterback call the plays. And he said there are no actual quarterbacks that call the plays on the field in terms of like go out there, execute it, other than Peyton Manning. He said, I played with all these different guys. I even played with Tom Brady. He said, even Tom Brady is not going out there, and he's as great as Tom is. Peyton Manning was just a savant as it came to he could be an offensive coordinator. Yes. And he said Tom Brady wasn't good doing that. And he said in the huddle or in the midi huddle or where they're walking up, they still can hear. They can still make suggestions. And even back in the Peyton Manning days with Tom Moore would make suggestions like, hey, take a look at this, and that because they're doing this and that. And so it's a totally different ball game. And so this whole notion that Tom should call the plays all game long and run, that's fucking horseshit. It would never fucking work. And I try to listen to people who played the game, and that's AQ's one of those guys. He's a friend of the program. Cool guy, and he knows his shit. One of the smartest NFL players we've ever talked to. Go ahead.
Right. Well, and see, that's why the chess match of football is so great. And I mean, even from my days as a Pop Warner defensive coordinator, right? Like if you can get a team to audible, right? Like the playbook is this big, right? But when you audible to something, your audible packages are usually like this big, right? Mm-hmm. And so I would sit there and watch teams on film, and it's like you look at down and distance and tendencies, right? And when they're in certain personnel groupings, if you can make them change the play to something else, it's like, film says you were going to run one of 6 plays out of this formation. When you audible in this situation, it's one of 2. Right. So I've just done the math now. I've reduced the possible answers by 4. I've gone from 6 to 2. Now I know you're either doing this or that because I've forced you into an audible. And it's the same way with NFL playbooks. That's why I use that example. In 2 minutes with the same personnel grouping that's out there, and you're throwing the ball, right, rather than running it. So the playbook is shrinking, right? So the plays for Tom to choose from are so much fewer than the vast playbook. And I think that's why he can, in the 2 minute, kind of take over in that instance. But then you can't do that the entire game because you're only dealing with like that many plays, and you can't beat a team with 6 or 8 plays over a course of 70 snaps throughout a game.
Byron has
by the way, shout out to the Pasco County Predators.
Appreciate that.
You will destroy your defense as well if you do that. Like literally, the Eagles.
You know what? You're right. And that's always the right example, right? Is the Chip Kelly Eagles, At the same time, though, this Buccaneer offense is so bad, and I'm a big defensive guy, right? I'm willing to do it because the risk reward with Tom Brady. Because listen, you're going to get a 3-and-out, right? It's either going to be a little faster or it's going to be a little slower. So, but the 3-and-out's coming, so you might as well just,
our defense is tired anyway. They're tired anyway because
right?
they're not getting
exactly.
And plus,
for 90 snaps.
To your point, it's hard to beat a team when you can only call 10, 11, 12 plays. Byron has proven that all season long. It's very difficult.
Right.
Very difficult.
Scott,
70 plays,
right.
Latte? 70?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Scott, were we robbed, Scott, from this standpoint, right? And right context, everyone watching, chill. Okay, we won a fucking Super Bowl. I'm not. I'm very appreciative of that.
Unappreciative asshole.
And is everything from the sense of everything we've seen, the football life, all that stuff. BA is a savant as far as experience, as far as feel for the game, right?
Feel. Yes, right.
Sequencing we're taking a shot here, we're doing this.
Yep.
What do you think an offense would have looked like with BA calling plays and Tom Brady?
Yeah, see, that's really interesting. I have thought of that before. And you know what? The funny thing is, not many people realize this, but when Tom Brady was recruited by BA and Jason Light to come down here, he was really excited. He thought he was going to get, BA. He thought, hey, look what this guy did with Peyton. Look what he did with Andrew Luck and Carson Palmer. He thought he was going to get the quarterback whisperer. Instead, he got Byron Leftwich, and it's like BA's like, I'm going to go drive around in the golf cart. You two figure this out, and I'll pop in a little bit. BA was a lot more hands off than people really realize, right? And the whole thing of using the red line, that didn't happen. He was involved, but it was mostly Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady. BA's not a liar when he says Byron Leftwich, deserves a lot of credit for picking the plays and the offense stuff. He was right. It really was a lot of that. Now Tom Moore's in the room, Clyde Christensen too. BA had some input, but BA was more like an orchestra leader rather than an instrument player, right? It's like, you can have like that star, violinist or star trumpet player, whatever, in your orchestra, and they're kind of the star of the show, but you're just the guy doing this, right? And I know that's important. I'm not trying to diminish the art of composing, but at the end of the day, you've got two little sticks and you're doing this, and everybody else knows what they're playing. They can read music, shit, You don't need the composer. You don't. But
that guy's job is to keep you on beat.
That's right. It's all it is. He's just like, doing this. Hey, remember, we're doing this, right? And all that. But BA had a presence about him. He had a presence. And I think maybe one of the untold stories is he has not been on the microphone this year, right? He's not been a couple feet away from Byron Leftwich. Now, he wanted Byron to call the offense. I think some of us health reasons, right? Take pressure off of him, literally and physically and mentally. But BA's there and he's listening. He's got the headset on, right? He's got the little, Darth Vader box and all that stuff. He's dialed in, plugged in. He's listening to what Byron's calling. At any point in time, he could say, "Take a shot here," or "Hey, let's hit him with a running back screen." We have yet to use that as the third quarter running back screen, either this play or next, right? Hands off, and Byron would do it. But it's those suggestions, right? It's that orchestra, it's that conductor, it's the keeping them on beat that I think Byron has missed this year. I think Byron like 98% of 2000 and 2021 was Byron. But I'm going to give Bruce a couple percentage points, and those percentage points really matter too, right?
Well, that's the red pen, Scott. When you get in there and say, "Fuck this conservative shit, let's take a shot."
Yeah.
We don't have anybody in there doing that anymore. And then they're just sitting back and trying to grind out wins or, keeping the game close.
And I will say this, it's a different dynamic with Todd Bowles, right? Because Todd Bowles he's not just a defensive minded head coach, he's the defensive play caller. So think about this. While Todd Bowles while Tom is off the field, Bowles' eyes have got to be trained on the field, right? Because the defense is on the field, offense is off. So the amount of times where Todd has interaction with Tom is very minimal, right? The times where he has interaction with Byron Leftwich is very minimal. So you know what I'm saying? It just he's so focused on on the defense when they're on the field and the offense is off the field. Whereas Bruce Arians, right, he's a walk-around coach like Mike Tomlin, right? Like he didn't have play calling duties, so he can go down and talk to Todd and talk to the defensive line if he wants to. He can go talk to Byron. He can go sit down on the bench, talk to Brady, talk to Evans. And there's a little bit of a dynamic there, right, that makes your head coach a little bit more dynamic when that happens. It reminds me a little bit of the Gruden days where Gruden was the play caller, and he gave complete autonomy to the defense to Monty Kiffin. Right. It's like this team had two head coaches, Monty Kiffin and John Gruden. And quite honestly, that's how the Buccaneers operate this year. Todd Bowles has very little to do with the offense, very little to do. And he expects Byron and the offensive coaches to figure it out. And they haven't, and they're going to get fired.
Do you see a world, though, where Tom comes back and Leftwich isn't in the building?
Yes, totally. Next year.
So you don't think that Leftwich is Tom's guy?
No.
Nope.
He just got done telling you that he was sold on a bag of goods.
I heard what he said, but
why would it matter?
I don't know. I heard what he said, but it would be, to
Bill
me,
O'Brien.
it would be.
Bill O'Brien.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'm hearing Bill O'Brien to the Patriots, though. See, I think Bill O'Brien probably goes to the Patriots because he's coached under Bill before. Bill's 70. How many of these losing seasons is Bill gonna stick around for? We've already seen Sean McVay after one losing season. He's gonna bail because he knows there's nothing but losing seasons coming for the Rams.
Not just that, Amazon's offering him a bag of money, bro. Amazon's taking all the talent.
There's something to be said about offensive play callers whose first name is Sean. They're notorious for bouncing once they see the writing is on the walls.
Yeah, that's right. Once they don't have their quarterback exactly.
What they are.
And the thing too with Belichick is he's got 2 losing seasons now, back to back, and he probably have another one here. He's going to bounce at some point. He's not going to sit there and say, "Wow, my legacy was the 3 or 4 losing straight losing seasons while the Bills were running the division I used to run." Right? That's going to be more top of mind to people than all the Super Bowls and stuff. He'll still be considered the greatest. But
with an asterisk, though.
With an asterisk,
can't
with
the
game passed and by. Can't win without Tom. Exactly.
Can't have too many seasons.
I don't think Bill Belichick wants to go down that way. He's 70 now. If you're Bill O'Brien, you go up there and with Josh McDaniels gone, you're the next guy in waiting. You're the heir apparent. So I think Bill O'Brien goes to New England. I'm not saying he won't come to Tampa. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. Working with Tom Brady, working with Jason Light again, there's that camaraderie. But Todd Monken's the guy that I would want to see back in Tampa. I've been campaigning for that for some time, and I know he has some allies in the building, and we'll see if it can happen. But
he's going to have a lot of opportunity though outside of here.
Oh, he's going to have a ton. Gosh, Todd. If you're a team needing an offensive coordinator, college or pro, you would want to interview Todd Monken first before anybody else.
You've been around a lot of players, a lot of coaches, a lot of GMs.
Yeah.
Listen, egos are real, man. And just touching on what you're talking about with Bill Belichick. Listen, what was the argument? Who can do it without the other?
Right.
Tom left and won one.
Yep.
You said he's on the second losing or third losing, second losing, whatever.
Second losing season. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit. All of a sudden it's like, hey, you couldn't do it without Tom, bro.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's my thing. How long does Bill Belichick want to hear that? Season after season, not making the playoffs, not finding the next, Tom Brady or at least the next quarterback who can get him to the playoffs. That's something that I think has an expiration date. So again, if I'm Bill O'Brien, I'm reading the tea leaves and saying, okay, well, I want to be a head coach again. Where's the faster train? Is it going to be in New England, where I know Robert Kraft and all that, or if I go to Tampa for 1 year and Brady's gone, or we don't go to the playoffs and Bulls gets canned for 2 losing seasons, they might just flush the whole thing, and Bill O'Brien might get washed away, with
Scott,
the
we win
Bulls.
the Super Bowl, Leftwich goes?
Ooh.
Depends on how it happens.
Yeah.
If they average 30 points a game, no.
Correct. Yeah. Then I think Bulls might get suckered into thinking, well, maybe this leopard has changed the spots. But yeah, if it's, if they're scoring 18 points and they're winning on defense, which is how they won the last one. I mean, the offense did score 30, but I mean, Todd Bowles' defense held the Chiefs to 9 points. So if they're winning with defense, then yeah, I don't think that Leftwich is necessarily safe.
Looking at that personnel on offense, and it's like, you got to put up more than 18, bro. Go, Sam. We're sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to say, when you watch Todd Monken call those plays in that championship game the other night, did that not look a lot like the San Francisco 49ers offense? A lot of eye candy, a lot of backfield motion.
Yeah.
These guys doing a lot of the same stuff. That would be amazing to have in Tampa.
We talked about the tempo, the sugar huddle. That was masterful.
It looked like we were watching the 49ers, honestly. The Niners, the Dolphins to an extent, very similar offense.
Yes.
A lot of that eye candy behind the backfield on run plays too, which is awesome.
I know Todd. We text from time to time, and I'd love to see him back here for personal reasons and professional reasons. But the thing with Monken that I appreciate is he went to Georgia, right? And he was playing for, or he's coaching for Kirby Smart, a defensive-minded head coach, right? The Bucs have a defensive-minded head coach in Todd Bowles. You're in the SEC. You have to run the ball. Like at some point, that has to be kind of a staple. Even Alabama now runs the ball. They have Bryce Young. They've turned into wide receiver U. They still have damn good running backs. You have to be balanced to win in the SEC. And even Josh Heupel with Tennessee knows that. And so what he's been able to do with Monken being a pass-first guy is he's been able to incorporate the run, but it's usually on second and third downs when he runs the ball. And he'll pass the ball on a first down to get to a real manageable second down. All of a sudden it's 2nd and 4, right? And then you run the ball, you pick up 4, first down, right? Rather than come out and predictably run the ball on first down. So he's been able to do a lot of things that Todd Bowles wants, which is find a way to run the ball, be aggressive and take shots on offense, and understand that we're a defensive-minded team. And with all of those, glut of stars of NFL players they have on Georgia's defense, he's made this offense go. Oh, and by the way, he's developed Stetson Bennett into a quarterback. So you're showing me too, Todd, that you can develop.
And he's 45 too, so it makes sense.
Oh my God, look at Snake getting excited. He's like, he's going to develop fucking Trask.
So would you say if we can't get Todd,
he would 100% tickle Todd Bowles' fancy because he would check off all the little market checks that he wants, and he could still be dynamic and still be exciting and still win games on offense.
And Todd Monken has an ego, but he is so subservient to his head coach, and you hear the way he reveres Kirby Smart, and even the way he revered Dirk Cutter when he was here calling plays, right?
Right. If we can't get Todd, do we get Dirk? Because Dirk obviously taught everything he knows.
No, fuck up, bro.
What? I never want to see a rotation at offensive line.
What do you mean?
Again,
the Godfather back in the building.
No.
Shit.
No.
Speaking of offense,
all his
Scott,
clothes back from Goodwill, all his Buck shirts that he donated to Goodwill.
Speaking of offense, Scott. Speaking of offense, this Monday night game against the Cowboys, are the Bucs going to use that fucking formula? Do you have any inkling that they've just kind of been holding the cards close to the vest, like a lot of people seem to be, thinking, or have they been kind of holding things a little close to the vest, and they're going to open it up and go more play action and do the things that we've seen have worked over the last few weeks, but do it like all 4 quarters? Are they finally going to open that book, that bag?
I hope so. Listen, there's not enough evidence to suggest that that's the case where Byron Leftwich can call 4 great consecutive quarters. I don't see that happening. I'm not saying it can't, but I think
action. Just go play.
Yeah, exactly. Because it works, right? Where I think the Buccaneers are different, and I talked with Rick Stroud from the Times a lot about this. We kind of theorize about some things, and he and I
we're a big Rick Stroud podcast here too.
Oh yeah, we love Rick Stroud here.
Yeah.
He hates the fuck out of us. Just so you know.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to drop names or anything. I'm just saying it's like Rick and I are kind of in lockstep about this.
Yeah. All right, we get it, Scott. You're fucking best friends with Rick Stroud. All right, we get it, Scott. Jeez, move on.
Tom has been kind of like in self-preservation mode his whole career. So why is that going to change this year, right? He trusted Marpet and Donnie when Donnie was Donnie, and Jensen and Kappa and Wirfs, right? He trusted that group. Think about this. How many times did we see in 2020 and 2021 them go empty shotgun, right? That's bringing Lenny out of the backfield into the slot, and you're blocking 5. You got 5 out there, and they did that with great frequency, right? It wasn't their staple, but like shit, they would do that on a lot of third downs, and it worked because again, now you go from Tom can find the mismatch with 4 guys. Now you bring in Lenny out. He's in the slot. Now I got 5 guys right to throw to. And But we don't see that this year because he didn't trust the 5 blocking for him up front. That's where it has to start. And so Tom's kind of been in this real quick, I'm going to like look away and throw it, and dodge the hit. Now we're in crunch time. And we saw Tom get sacked 3 times and hit 8 times against Carolina. And we really saw Tom hang in the pocket, let those routes develop downfield, take some shots, and then take some shots, right? And I think that if Tom, and I think he's going to continue to play that way. I think he's going to exactly. You got nothing to lose, right? If you're going to hurt, great. That's what February and March and April are for, and then you're better by the time OTAs roll around, right? I think this is the time to let it loose, hang in the pocket, take some hits, and I think Tom knows that. I think this was a calculated gamble, very much like Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles knew Byron Leftwich probably deserved to get fired early in the season after the Carolina game for sure. Had an opportunity to pull the trigger after the Ravens game, didn't do it. Had an opportunity to pull the trigger on the bye week, didn't do it. I think Todd Bowles said, we need a new offensive coordinator. I inherited this coaching staff on March 30th when I got handed the job, 2 weeks after the start of free agency. We're going to win with my defense and Tom Brady. And we'll get a new offensive coordinator next year. I'm not going to play that offensive coordinator chip now and swap him out for Clyde Christensen or Kevin Garver or Harold Goodwin, because the next offensive coordinator I want is not on the staff. So I'm not going to throw that little chit out there right now, or I'm not going to play that get out of jail free card now and lose it. I'm going to hang on to it, and we're gonna win this crappy NFC South division, even if it's with a losing record. And Todd gambled, and he won because they won the division. Now they're getting the bodies back healthy. We'll see what happens, but it's going to have to be with his defense and Tom Brady again to see how far they can go. And then we'll have a new OC next year.
I think that's part of the reason, Scott, you are correct. I think he comes back here. You hear the Raiders, you hear that stuff. I don't believe that stuff.
I don't either.
The kids are here. He's recently divorced. He's not going to leave across the country to be away from his kids.
Right. Miami
scares me a little bit because Tua retires because of the concussions. Even then, Tampa, you have the cohesion, and most importantly, you just said it. You get your healthy guys up front that Tom trusts.
Yeah.
And Tom's looking out there. He's like, man, I know I got chemistry with 13. I know I got chemistry with 14. One more year for Otten. You got a lot of experience this year. Gage, they're still developing that, but we all know he got hurt. Training camp hasn't been 100% since. You got Rashad coming along. It's like it all lines up for Tom to come back here.
Yeah. And he gets to play with Jensen again. One of his best friends. He gets to play with Jensen. Yeah. The thing, too, is this. Here's the missing component, just to bring it kind of full circle. We talked about Tom being a regular guy, right? I mean, he's not like an ego-driven celebrity, whatever. He's a normal, regular guy at heart. And he went through something that I've been through before, and it's painful, especially when you have kids. When you go through a divorce, and my God, man, mine wasn't in the headlines, right? Mine wasn't on TMZ and all that stuff, and his was. And guess what? It happened during football season of all of the things, right? And you know what this organization did, Tom? You need 10 days off in training camp? Take it. Tom, you want to go up there and see your son for a day or two and go to Robert Kraft's wedding before the Steelers game? Go do it. You take the personal time that you need. That goes a long way, man. That goes a long way. When Tom was in need, this team was there for him. This team had his back every single time. And he has got a deep relationship with Joel Glazier. He's got a deep relationship with Jason Light. He's got a very good relationship with Todd Bowles. There's a lot of common ground and personal respect there. And, man, the grass isn't always greener, okay? I mean, let's put on our Denver Broncos hats last March, right? Nathaniel Hackett comes in from Green Bay. We're going to sling the ball around. We got Russell Wilson. Let's ride, right? I mean, it sounded great in March, right? Look what happened. I mean, It was a complete disaster. But high hopes. I mean, holy smokes. Broncos are going to challenge the Chiefs in the West, right? I mean, hold on, Chargers. Or the Broncos are here, right? All of a sudden, Devontae Adams goes to the Raiders. Gosh, pencil the Raiders in, man. They're going to challenge the Chiefs, right? Derek Carr with his college teammate Devontae Adams. Look out for the Raiders, man. It doesn't always work. New places new faces, it doesn't always work. And so I don't know why Tom Brady would want to risk at age 46. He's going to have to learn a new offense here, just like he would anywhere else. But wouldn't you want to do it with a coach that you know, with a GM who has got your back? You need a player. Who do you want? With the receivers you know, with the center that you know.
Plus,
you
it's
missed
funny.
And the running back who's your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that AFC division that you listed off, every one of those teams did a bunch of shit to try to compete with the Chiefs. One
didn't
team
work.
Backwards fell into the playoffs, and the others did not. Had massive meltdowns of a season. And the Chiefs are still number one in the fucking division.
By the way, Sammer, thanks, Scott. I think I speak for us at least, Scott, because I know you're not a fan, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe. Well, no, you're not. I don't know.
I'm a K-State fan.
He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, right?
It makes me appreciate what we did in 2020 so much more.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
because it was like, oh, it's easy. Well, look, what can happen with Russell Wilson?
Yeah, that's right.
Not that fucking easy. It's
that's a fantastic point. And the other thing too is, Brady's critics, right? The haters will point to, well, yeah, but you were in the AFC East. I mean, come on. You won all those division titles. You were winning 13 games a year, playing against the lowly Dolphins and the lowly Bills, lowly Jets. I mean, come on. You mopped that division every year because they all sucked. Okay, well, maybe that's fair, right? It's not Brady's fault. He didn't make the schedule, right? He didn't pick the teams in the division. It's not his fault that those teams sucked for decades, right? They did. But does he want to go back to the AFC East now? Does he want to lose a game to Bill Belichick and split with the Patriots? Does he want to get thumped by Josh Allen and the Bills twice a year? No. I don't know. I mean, you look at the AFC East, and then you look at the NFC South, playing the Falcons twice a year, playing the Saints twice a year, now that we can beat them, playing the Carolina Panthers twice a year, all those teams 7-10. Easy. Is there a team that's going to rise up this year and win 11, 12 games and snatch that division away from the Buccaneers? I don't know. I think right now the Buccaneers have just as good a chance as any of them do winning the division.
Latte, you mentioned the Dolphins, Latte, but they're going to fire their defensive coordinator. Their defense is reeling. Like, he's not going to go to a team. I just read
2 weeks ago they were about to fire their brand new head coach.
Like, they're not. He's not.
Stupid.
He's not going to go to a team where he'd have to score 40 points a night and then again compete against the fucking Bills. And the Vegas idea, he's not going to go face all those fucking guys.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. And then
lose to Mahomes twice a year?
Yeah,
no.
It's not
lose to Justin Herbert? No.
Sammer, more importantly, Scott, you just talked about that whole AFC, the divisionally.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about conference. Like the path, because Tom's at this point, it's about competing and the guys and all that stuff.
It's about making some calculated decisions.
Tom wants to win Super Bowls. That's what he fucking does.
Right?
He's 7-time. Now imagine the road. We're talking about if they get hot and we do what we're supposed to do. The road in the NFC, nobody really scares me.
Right
now, flip over to the AFC. You got to go. You got to go through either Josh. You got to go through fucking Joe Burrow. You got to go through
Patrick Mahomes.
You got pick your poison. Herbert, who can get. They backed into the playoffs like Sam said.
And they're not going away. Those guys are going to be good next year and the year after that. So
and they're younger.
Right.
You guys aren't bringing up the obvious answer here. Tom's leaving the Bucs. Him and Sean Payton going back to New Orleans, and we're gonna have to face Tom next year. That's about to happen.
Yeah. That's the one that popped up too. He's
and then Jameis is going to leave. He's pissed that Tom didn't take his job again. Coming back here, Leftwich has already said he feels bad he couldn't save Jameis.
Could you imagine Jameis again? You imagine being Jameis and losing an opportunity twice to the same guy? And it's not a guy that you could be like, I can beat him out. Dude, it's fucking Tom Brady. It's
exactly,
everywhere I go, Michael Jordan is right fucking behind me. God damn it.
Hey, Scott, we talk about every position group except for one, and it's the one I think ultimately is going to decide this game, and that's
Ryan Suckup.
Besides Suckup, and our incredible special teams, like they just look so good this year. No, the defensive line.
Yeah,
is JTS going to be able to actually sack a quarterback? Is he going to run by him?
Oh man,
is Anthony Nelson going to provide? We're going to eat up front. What's going to happen?
Yeah, Vita's going to play. He's going to play, and that bodes well stopping the run game. Right, Hicks and they are pretty. That's a solid 1-2 punch inside there. And Will Golston's been playing his ass off too. I mean, I got to throw Will out there as well, and Nacho. They're all doing a pretty good job against the run. But yeah, when it comes to JTS, there's some people at One Buck Place that they're waiting for that light bulb to come on, and it's like there's something to be said about pressures, right? And I always kind of get into this debate with the analytics nerds and all of this because, there's pressure rate and, pressures are better than sacks. Well, not really. It depends, right? Because if you get a sack on first down, right, and it's 1st and 17, and then they end up, converting that and winning, scoring a touchdown on that drive, that sack is really so inconsequential. You know what I'm saying? It just is. Sacks on 3rd down that force punts, they count more. At the same time, too, it's like you can have, like, Anthony Nelson has a far fewer number of pressures, but he has more sacks than Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. All that really tells you is he wraps up better because Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, his nickname for me is Almost. And I hope that the almost becomes like done deal.
He does not deserve that disrespect, Scott. He does not. All right.
Well, he needs to wrap
if
up.
If he was from Kansas State, would you have said that? Would you have said that?
Of course. I'm hard on my Wildcats. Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, without a doubt.
I'll appreciate it.
And keep in mind, we were the only media outlet that had Joe Tryon-Shoyinka going to the Bucs in our mock draft. So
how do you guys do that every year? How do you do that every single year?
According to my sources.
Yeah, what kind of source?
It's almost like you're in the world.
My sources.
Yeah.
You know who else? Who else they nailed? And I would love to talk about this.
We nailed Kyle Trask too. We actually hit. We
but
nailed.
you also nailed.
That wasn't one you were happy about.
White. Are we going to re-sign him, Scott? The $100 million man.
$120 million he's getting.
Yep.
Why are we doing like a season-ending show here? What are we doing?
This is not season-ending. It's a great question.
Is Tom coming back? Are we signing Devin White? No, this is playoff.
As long as Todd Bowles is here, Devin White will be here. Yes.
Okay.
Whether Scott, you like it or not, whether he deserves it or not, that's happening.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
All right.
We can talk about it later, but 54, we got to bring 54 back.
Your 12 major keys to victory. Go.
12 major keys to victory. I can do this. No, I can do it.
He can do it.
Play turnover free. It's so trite and it's not sexy, but like that's the formula, right? Because Dallas will give you this game, you have to take it. You've got to catch the interceptions that are thrown to you, and you've got to play clean football. And we saw what happens when Tom Brady throws a couple picks. It's not good. You barely beat the Cardinals. You get your ass kicked by the 49ers. Get your ass kicked by the Bengals. And you beat the Panthers when you don't throw interceptions. So Tom always talks about the margin of error. And with this team, because of the lack of talent, especially on offense, it's really thin. And so you can't beat yourself. So I think that's the first thing is they've got to win the turnover battle. And against a team like Dallas, as Byron Leftwich was saying today, they're playing varsity football now. It's good on good. Like, okay, whatever, Byron. But he actually said that in his press conference. I'm like, okay, varsity.
He's got to be fucking with you guys at this point. Like, the shit he's saying, it's like, come on. Does he actually? He's got to be fucking with you guys.
I think his arrogance is impressive to me.
Yeah.
It kind of is. Yeah.
He's tripling down on it. He's like, you know what? Yeah. Fuck these guys. I'm going to say.
You guys in your fantasy football questions and all, that's fantasy football. Yeah. No, but when you're playing really good teams, Cowboys this week, Eagles the next, whatever, you got to win the turnover battle like 3-0. It's got to be convincing. Like, and these turnovers have to matter. They either have to rob Dallas of a score, like we saw against the Cardinals, that strip sack by Nelson inside the red zone, right? That took points off the board. The Cardinals are at least getting field goal there. Took points off the board. So it has to either be in that side of the field, or you got to set up your offense with a really short field where like it's just points, like Anthony Nelson did against Carolina, right? Setting up that last touchdown to kind of put that game out of reach for the Bucs against the Panthers. So you need meaningful takeaways, and you need a lot of them, 2, 3, 4, to really win this game. And I think that's the big thing. The other thing is you got to have some sustained drives. That means your third down conversion rate has got to be 40% or more. This offense has just got to find a way to stay on the field and allow this defense to be fresh in the fourth quarter, because we know it's going to be close or Dallas is going to be behind, and it's going to be Dak Prescott slinging the ball all over the field. That's got to be the time when JTS and Nelson and Devin and Levante are ready to come, and they still have their legs, and they can provide the pass rush in the fourth quarter. So 40% completion percentage on offense.
Love the phrasing on that too, Scott.
Yeah.
Love the phrasing on that. I hope they got to be ready to come and have their legs ready. Have their legs ready. Absolutely. Massive part
Yes.
of that, obviously. You gotta be
That's major key number one, honestly.
major key number one. Yeah. These guys got to be ready to come and have their legs.
Their legs ready. Yeah.
And I want
that's
all
football
12 major
101.
keys, but the first key took at least 10 minutes. And we've got questions for you, Scott. And I have to get to these questions.
Before we get to the question,
I would say
Score prediction.
the third key goes into my scoring. The Buccaneers have got to score 24 points or more. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a touchdown more than they're averaging. So they got to get 24 points or more. If part of that comes on a pick six or a Devin Tompkins, return,
it's gonna happen, Scott. He's got juice.
One of these days it's gonna happen. One of these days, Devin's gonna be the guy that's gonna return something, either a punt or kickoff. Yeah. He does.
He's got to come hard with his legs ready to go. I think that's a guy who's got his legs ready. You can feel
Scott,
it. He's ready to explode.
Yeah.
Didn't he have 2 sacks in the first Cowboy game, Devin White? He had a big game.
He did. Yes.
Yes. Scott, so I'm going to ask for your score prediction, but we've added a new segment to the show where fans submit questions to us.
All right.
Weird ones.
Sure.
They get to know us.
I mean, this is loose cannon, so you know these.
Oh, I know.
Loose cannon, Scott. It's loose cannon. What do you expect?
I knew what I signed up for, guys. This is not my first radio.
What is your score prediction? And then we're going to get weird.
I'm going to say 27-23 Bucs.
Look at that.
Fucking play. We get
Listen, your former employee, I heard him on the radio earlier today.
Yeah.
John Ledger, and the stat dorks you talked about earlier. He picked against. He said the Bucs were gonna lose. That's probably why you fired him.
John picked against us.
He did. He picked against.
Against. I love that. Against.
Yeah. That is the proper way to say it, Scott. Correct?
Of course, it is against. Yeah, because it's not like the word gain is GAIN, and it is within the word against. So
yeah, Scott, you write for a living. Can you please tell that dipshit Stank that I've been saying against properly this entire time? He says I'm saying he says we say it incorrectly.
It's against.
Unless you guys all grew up in Canada, because that's not how we say it.
This guy writes for a living. All right, he's got a bigger brain than we do. He obviously uses the keyboard a lot more.
So just put his dick on the table and prove you wrong.
So Stank, I'm assuming you use the term again, right?
Yeah, I do.
And but it's not. It's a gain and against. It's like the detergent is not gun, it's gain.
Thank you.
You already lost me.
Detergent, come on.
GAIN. Gain, the detergent. A gain and against.
Listen, Scott, this guy's against.
I went to Chamberlain High School, bro. We didn't talk about it. We didn't have that class.
This guy's against all logic, all right? All right.
Agreed. No logic.
Time for the fucking weirdness, all right? Let's get
right.
Scott some weirdness. And we can get
I'm a little frightened. I got to take a drink.
We got a question submitted by Zach for Scott.
Yeah, we got a Twitter question too.
Scott. And thanks on a shoot from the hip here. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna ask the Twitter one. You can ask the Zach one. The Twitter one, and I'm really anxious to hear your answer.
Okay.
Which Buccaneer player or players would you feel comfortable with your wife or wives hanging out with when you're not around? That's from Brandino Fresno on Twitter.
That's for all.
Carl Nassib.
That's for all.
Carl Nassib.
Yeah, Carl Nassib.
Carl Nassib. That's easy. And I love Carl.
Carl,
seriously.
That's such a good answer.
Carl is one of my favorite Buccaneers.
I didn't even think about that.
It's the only answer, bro.
Perfect answer.
Just saying. Right?
It's the only answer.
I mean, that's the only answer.
We're not even going any further. That's the right answer.
It is.
Right question.
And the thing, like, I talk to Carl every week. He's one of my absolute favorite players I've ever covered. I love Carl. The guy's phenomenal. Great dude. Great
it definitely
player.
Wouldn't be Camarda, and it wouldn't be Blaine for me.
Hell no.
They're fucking out.
Now, my wife would say Blaine, like without question.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fault her, but that's the right answer for her. But
so do I have to answer that for every one of my wives? Because I don't think they have enough guys on the roster for how many wives I have. So
and your wives have never been in another room.
Can I dip into the practice squad? I mean, I've got 73.
Oh God. Okay. I really don't want to ask this one, Scott.
Hold on. Here's a question that I want to ask Tom Brady, but I've not had the opportunity to.
Okay.
This is good. Time is fleeting, but this is the question I've always wanted to ask Tom. It has to be in the right mood because sometimes Tom's in a jovial mood. Hey guys, how are you? Sometimes he's like game face Tom, like, hey guys, like let's do this. I got like 8 minutes for you, and then I'm out the door, right?
Like he has jerked
but
off
I would love to ask. I would love to ask Tom, like Tom, what's it like being? I mean, because you're a good-looking guy. I mean, like, Like we all know that. Like you're Tom Brady. But what's it like being the second best looking quarterback in the room behind Blaine?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's a great question.
I would love to know his answer to that. I would love to know it. But
Can you ask Byron that question too? Just so I could hear him say, you fucking porn fantasy guys with these fucking questions.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It'd be from football fantasy to porn fantasy.
What's even funnier, because we've got to hang out with Leftwich in a social gathering where everybody's drunk, we're being stupid, all the players are being stupid, and we try to bring the fuckery out of everybody. He's not for the games. Not at all.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
At all.
We do the blue cheese ranch thing. We're like, ranch, like ranch.
No.
I can't imagine him. I can't imagine
person who's less about the fuckery, and that's Tom Moore.
You know what?
Oh yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
but he's just so fucking old. It's different. But I could see Byron being the guy that refuses to go to a barbershop but has the barber come to him, because there's no way he enjoys being in a barbershop scene. Like there's no way he enjoys that. Yeah, it's not his.
Well, and speaking of Tom Moore, I love how Vita Vea just messes with Tom Moore. That's hilarious.
It is. They have a great relationship.
Yeah.
Here's the weird.
All right, what's the next question?
This is weird, but listen, they submit him. We got to ask him, Scott.
Okay.
You're in the locker room, Scott. You're doing a post.
Wait, who asked this question?
Zach, Bucs by 30.
Oh, Bucs by 30. Okay.
You're doing a post game interview in the Bucs locker room, and you're asking Blaine Gabbert about the game.
Yeah.
His towel falls off, and now he's completely nude.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
you be a douche and call him out on it, or drop your pants as well and finish the interview like a G?
I'm a professional. I just maintain eye contact, ask the questions, and record his answer. That's it. That's just true professionalism right there.
Would you drop your pants to make him feel comfortable or not?
I'm just question.
Scott.
It's kind of like the Billy Madison thing. He peed his pants. You pee your pants to make him feel comfortable.
You're not cool unless your dick's out in this locker room. I agree. Do we all get to answer that? Or how's that work?
Yeah, go ahead. That was for Scott.
Dude, I would absolutely whip it out, go into a measuring contest, like the whole deal, man. And why not?
He just saved people from a helicopter crash, bro.
You.
Yeah,
you're losing that. You're losing that game. We all already know that shit.
Well, how do you think he fucking brought them all ashore? That thing's a fucking buoy by itself. He's like, hey,
he's like, hey, hold this flotation device.
Hold on to this white buoy. Like, what is this? What is this flesh-like buoy we're holding? Just hold on to it. I'm gonna swim you to shore. Just hold on to this very fleshy buoy.
Holy shit.
Okay, Scott. Scott,
there's more.
This one's for everybody. We're gonna bring it back to football.
All right.
Football.
That was about football.
This one's for all of us.
Oh boy.
Football hypothetical.
Okay.
We're down by 5 on the field goal. 3 seconds left. Which are we more likely to see? A fade to Mike Evans or a Tom Brady sneak?
Where are we at?
Where are you at?
On the goal line.
On the goal line.
3 seconds left in the game.
What down is it?
There's 3 seconds left, so it's inconsequential.
Inconsequential, yeah.
3 seconds, so it's like last play of the game. I think Brady sneak. I think Tom's going to get it. He's, now he doesn't have the leg strength that Blaine does for sure, right? And maybe honestly, if I'm Todd Bowles, I'm calling an audible, and I'm putting Blaine in there for the quarterback.
You got it all wrong, Scott. What you got to do is you got to take a page out of the Eagles playbook. You trot out Blaine Gabbert and Vita Vea and put them fucking split H-back behind Tom. You say, Tom, we're running a sneak, but don't worry. We're going to carry you in. And you have Scott, or not Scott, have Vita and Blaine just push the fucking pile into the end zone. There's no way. Massive human, 2 massive thighs next to him. Absolutely going to be a touchdown.
That's true. Yeah,
I could see, listen, if Leftwich is in the Eagles playbook, I could see him also throwing a pass to Tom Brady down there with the game on the line.
No, that's never, ever worked.
Did you see how that went in the Super Bowl and what was it, the game here in primetime where he almost got killed or it was an interception by Lenny? I'm good on that.
The greatest play sequencing ever where we're going to call a play.
In Germany.
And then everyone's going to notice that they forgot to cover our quarterback. And then 2 plays later, we're going to call that play again.
Exactly.
And then they're definitely going to cover him the second time.
Exactly.
Nobody in that huddle was like, this is a bad idea.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Except for Tom, who's yelling, "Don't throw it!"
Yeah, and Lenny's like, "Fuck yeah, I get to throw the fucking rock."
Yeah,
I'm throwing it.
Hey, he actually tweeted about that. He's like, quarterback Lenny or something like that. He's like, "Fucking, I'm ripping that bitch. I don't get to throw it."
That's right.
This is the last one. This is the last one.
Okay.
There's more?
Not that bad. And then we're out of here. Yeah.
Oh, it's not that bad. Okay, good.
This is not that bad. It's funny.
All right.
Scott. And think we asked this one to each other earlier.
Okay.
We can answer for the viewers, and you guys can answer as well in the chat.
Okay.
Given the choice, 2 options.
Okay.
Would you rather get paid $100 for the rest of your life for every fart you produce, or $300,000 for every tooth you get removed? Has to be front, bottom or top, doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
you can't.
I would do the fart for sure. The $100. It's easy. Because then I would take all of my earnings and just keep going to Taco Bell like over and over again.
Listen, Scott, I did the math after Latte asked me that question. It's only 3,000 farts. That's $300,000.
Right.
I can get that done, bro.
That's not a problem. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Scott,
and I get to
not a
keep the
problem.
rest of my teeth.
We also looked up how often a human farts.
Yeah.
We did look that up, didn't we?
I'm sure you did.
You know what the average? You know what the average is? Take a guess, Scott. How many times do you think somebody farts in a day? Average?
6, 10,
13.
13. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Did you know that Samer answered that question on the money the first time? He knew it. He somehow he
I'm
knew
not
that.
surprised. I'm not surprised.
I'm the guy you want to take. I'm the guy you want to take the trivia night at the local fucking pub.
Yeah, that's a given. Yeah.
The crazy
There's no
thing is,
doubt.
Scott, we don't ever look anything up on this show. Ever. I mean, ever.
I'm impressed by that research. I
No
really am.
stats.
You
We
guys
never look up
you
any
dove deep into
stats.
that.
We don't watch
Right.
any film, but we did look that up because that was
Yeah.
important to us.
You went to
Fantasy
profartfocus.com and
Absolutely.
got all those
Fantasy
statistics and all of the anal analytics for that question.
That's a whole.
Bro, Samer is
That's a
loving
whole
the dad
fantasy.
jokes.
That's a whole fantasy fart ball question, dude.
It
It's
is.
unnecessary.
It is.
It's just terrible.
Yep, that is analytics right there.
And there's the name of the fantasy podcast right there. That's the name of the fantasy
Fantasy
podcast.
fart ball.
Analytics.
Fantasy fart ball. Fantasy fart ball. It's got to be fantasy fart ball, right? And we only cover 13 topics every single episode.
Hey,
Scott, I have a selfish request, and I don't know why anybody. Huh?
Right.
get out of here. That's it.
No, but this is real quick. It's real quick. I don't know why anybody in the media hasn't covered this.
Loose Cannons podcast sponsored by GasX.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You have
Hell
a you
yeah.
have a, you know
There you
you write a newspaper, or you used to. I
Not
still
anymore,
have printed
yes.
copies. But anyways, you do your Fab Five. Can I get a special Fab Five where you interview the players who are walking barefoot out on the field every game? I want to know why they're doing it, and I think they need attention because it takes, you know, I've seen them out there every game. All these barefoot guys.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know. I have no desire to do that, so I'm not a fan.
Come on,
Maybe
man.
Rick Stroud will do that for you, though.
Yeah, all right.
Ask Stroud.
I'll
He'll
text
do it.
Rick. Just give me his
Yeah.
number.
There you go.
Hey, you know who will do it? Jenna. Oh, sorry.
What?
Well, I thought she was
Are
a
you
friend of
using
the
any
pod.
type of creams or lotions on your feet to protect against the blades of grass?
That's a very important question. I'm a huge creams and lotions guy too, by the way. Look.
I know you are. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, we're
Scott.
sponsored by baby oil, bro.
This is the
Sure.
fucking most fun we've had with you. No, that's not even a knock on you. It gets better every time, right?
It's
And
just
also,
a beer, guys. I had an
like a
old
nut.
fashioned
Now-
last time.
it sounded
Now
like
you know that if we win, when we win, you have to come back on here throughout the entire playoffs. Now,
Of course, that's a given. Yeah,
Oh, you
I've
gotta
been
keep the
happy to
juju.
do
You
it.
gotta keep the juju. Gotta keep the
Yeah,
juju.
got to keep
Yeah.
the juju. So,
Yeah,
Scott,
I'm gonna
for
wear
the-
the same shirt and everything. I'm not gonna shower. We're
for
good.
the people who, for whatever fucking reason, have no clue who
Yeah.
you are or what you do,
Under a fucking rock.
plug
Jesus.
the fuck out of what you do, please. Go ahead.
I'm Scott Reynolds from PewterReport.com. We've got a
Whoa.
podcast called Pewter Report Podcast that's on YouTube TV. That's our Pewter Report TV channel on YouTube. So make sure you're checking out our podcast. We also have got social media handles at Pewter Report on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And, of course, the mothership, PewterReport.com, where you have all the stories you can read about your favorite Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the cool thing is we don't just cover the football season. We're pretty good at the offseason coverage in terms of figuring out which coaches are coming and going, which players they're going to re-sign, which free agents they're going to sign, and which players they're going to draft. So, don't just come to us during football season. The offseason really is where we shine. And hopefully that offseason will be at least a month away for Buccaneer fans.
I cannot wait to have Scott on to talk about free agency. I mean, it's a lot of shit we got to talk about. The whole,
It's
whole secondary, pretty much.
yeah.
Hopefully that's in like a month from now, though.
Both our linebackers. Yeah,
Hopefully a month from now.
Month from now. Absolutely, month
Yeah.
from now.
We got the best funny money guys in the NFL. All right, we're gonna sign everybody to like 13 voidable years.
Those are my
Great.
people, bro.
Yeah.
You know the Glazers got money crunchers, bro. Those my
Yeah.
people. They know how to
Hey,
do it.
listen, I don't want to say this, and it might sound a little racist, but if you got front office of Jews, you're gonna figure it the fuck out. All right.
That's not wrong. That's not racist. That's facts.
I'm done.
My CPA,
Go Bucs.
absolutely, 100%.
27-23.
Appreciate you having me on, guys.
Thank you so much, Scott. You're awesome. Peace.
Peace.